Think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wants to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Just another Sunday fun day. Some friend day. Been a couple of days since we got on here. Talked a little bit of boxing. And sometimes, man, we like to let the beat build, man. We just like to take a step back, man, and analyze what's going on. It's a lot of moving parts. And we really be trying to be responsible when it comes to the art of boxing, man. And when you're talking about boxing, you gotta include boxing talk. Cookie Monster, Bodywork, salute Cookie Monster. AC in the building. Mic check, 1 2 1 2, sounding crystal clear. That's what I like to hear. And you know, we've been sharpening tools, man. We've been making refinements. We've been marching forward. You know, we've been doing our research. We've been kicking around these narratives like cans. And if there's one thing I understand, It's the fact that we are definitely in the soft and strategic area, and we are in the era in which he who controls the printed page controls the thinking at this age. So what we always say is, man, listen to all them guys, man. Listen to the analysts, the Hall of Famers, you know, the fellow boxers. Listen to your favorite YouTube channel. Wherever they float your boat or find your lost remote. Also, the whole cheers thing, like go where everybody know your name and they always glad you came. After you get done doing all that, me and AC be like, hey man, come over and holler, sit down real quick, man. Getting this, I mean, I guess people might be looking at it like a hot seat, man. I'm not sure. But come over here and talk to us, man. If you got, you know, willing to get up here and kick it with us, man, and ask some questions and add something to the conversation, something to value, to chill in the comment section. Watch the video. See how what we be saying before, during, and after. See how it lines up all the way through. We try to stay true. We shot our azimuth. We measured our gait. We check, and recheck. We did inventory on the tools. And we walking this thing out. But with no further ado, man, I got the best co-host on the planet, AC Hibachi. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I'm just writing some funny shit down, and it was basically to piggyback off of what you were saying, the soft era. It just made me think of the pudding pop wars growing up. You had Bill Cosby, you had Buddy Hackett, and there was another company. And you had these three companies vying for everybody's money for their frozen pudding pop. But no matter how much you freeze it, once you apply a little bit of heat to it, number one, it's gonna melt, and number two, you still gonna find out that shit is soft as hell because it's pudding. So maybe that's what it is, man, because people want to put on these facades and put on all that jewelry and say, you know what, I'm icy, so I'm cold. Yeah, you just cold pudding, bruh. The minute I put some heat to your ass, you gonna melt and become pudding again. So stop. Stop, you ain't fooling Nathan here. So yeah, that's all I got for right now, man, until we get into the mix of this.
And we fight all night TV, yerp. What's good? Salute, brethren. Glad you're in the building, kicking it with us, man. We know time is valuable, man, so we don't underappreciate that. So thanks for kicking it with us, man. It's gonna be a good show. But you and your analogies, man. I think you inspire a lot of people with them analogies, man. That shit be funny as hell, man. I like y'all channel. I've been here a few times. That's right, man. Keep on coming back. Make sure you subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Tell somebody else, hey, man, this channel's a little different, man, and you like the vibes. You know what I'm saying? We're not asking you to do nothing strange or nothing like that. Just, you know what I'm saying, give a word to your other brethren and say, hey, listen, man, this channel over here, they be like doing their thing a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Check them out. And not for everybody. I always say I'm the Lloyd Banks of this shit because I could really walk away from this shit. And Lloyd Banks ain't want to be Drake. I remind y'all that if he wanted to, he could. So, I mean, we're not catering to everybody, man. We just a channel that like to stick to the nuts and bolts. We like to do the little deeper dive. And we like to keep it boxing. And we touch on it a little bit outside the ring, but for the most part, man, what we try to pride ourselves on is just keeping it boxing. And still being able to be yourself, still be able to sit up here with people that don't agree, and that people that don't like the fighter that you like. Housekeeping gonna be a little funny, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. But yeah, we're gonna get into the housekeeping, man. I think we got a good one, man. It's a good one, man, for hindsight, and you know, also to wrap up with the state of boxing, AC. We got a a lot of this we be giving like the state of boxing. We don't call it that because it's not all grand like a state of the union, but
Yeah.
every so often we don't do a pulse. We do like a state of the boxing wrapped up in a concept that we've been kicking around. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get into the housekeeping.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get familiar. Number one, size matters. Ask Shakur and Zab Judah. And I know that might be a pause-worthy moment. It's not a pause type channel, but you know, according to them, size matters, and it's just funny because I'm like, man, like we done see you lay down and put your one leg behind your head, and then you put your other leg behind your head. Now you grabbing peculiar objects, and you contorting yourself like a pretzel. I'm like, man, how far are y'all willing to go for this guy? Especially when he's not like, I mean, he's not getting people to bring out the Brinks truck, man. But like, it seems like I've been tracking it. It's like every week, every other week, you know, so every 4 or 5 days, it's like this new thing that everybody want to stick to. And now all of a sudden, Shakur is this little guy. And he was trying to massage it all in his quest to go fight Teofimo Lopez. But I'm like, man, this don't like I got it on wax where 2 years ago, you've been saying for 2 years you was bigger than Tio. For 2 years, Tio has been fighting at 140. I'm not even sure what we be talking about, man. Like, Zab came out and basically co-signed this, man. And I'm just like, I don't really know what their motive is, what their agenda is. Or maybe it's their way of giving back. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's like, all right, I'll be working over here, man. If you come through, when you step in the line, I'm gonna look the other way. I'm gonna give you a ticket and let you in the door. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's the old head giving back to the young heads. It's like, okay, cool. If that's what you're doing, okay, cool. But for us who put all of these boxes on the scale, for us who have all these criticisms, for us who try to keep a standard around here in boxing to try to preserve the vitality of the sport, when you make those type of arguments, you're always gonna be coming up short. So I don't like to do this, but you all make me do this, and I have to do it because these narratives, man, like if you're pound for pound, you're number one and you got all the skills, man, like that speaks for itself. And we should be able to go back in your catalog, and if your stuff got playback value, we should be able to look at some of your old fights and pretty much, if it's sweet science and all that, we should be able to see everything about you that we need to know based on the people that you fought and how you fought them and all of that. And we shouldn't have to take a sweet science class and then go over and, you know, and get a cosign from all your favorite YouTubers and listen to what they be saying about you. Like the stuff that's going on right now, it don't make sense. What it tells me that it's like in some aspects, as many stars or budgeting stars or people that got skills that we have in the business, this lets me know that there don't be a lot going on. I'm like, why are we talking about Shakur's size? Like, why are we talking about his size? Like, why is that a point of, like, why? Like, you start asking, like, okay, so why are you talking about this? Okay, so why are you talking about, you know, nuclear defense, and why you, okay, oh, this happened, okay, so why are you talking about girlfriends that cheat on their married boyfriends? Like, okay, so that's a sign of the time. Like, so why are we talking about size? Is this a sign of the time? Where I've never heard these arguments, and I got something for it. But no further ado, man, let me go ahead and get into it, man, so y'all know exactly where I'm coming from with this, man, because this is like, it's laughable to me, but I'm just sitting back, you know what I'm saying? Blood pressure not high. I'm just passionate about this boxing talk. My blood pressure is not high, trust me. But I gotta do this. Let me put this up here for y'all. Salute to everybody that's in the building, man. Hit the like button, man. Let everybody know, like, you know what I'm saying? Algorithm You know what I'm saying? Make the algorithm do the boogie woogie woogie, man. You know what I'm saying? Unless you want to keep this to yourself. Now, you want to keep this to yourself, I ain't going to blame you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we find something good, we want to keep it to ourselves. We saying, no, I'm not the type. Like, if I find something good, I'm letting AC know. I'm letting my lady know. I'm letting, you know, whoever I rock with, I'm letting them know. Hey, I found something, man. So hit the like button, man. And let people know that we out here doing our thing. Let me make sure. Okay. We cooking with gasolina. Boxing news. Zab Judah says one move may cost Shakur Stevenson his undefeated record. Nobody can dispute that. Oscar pick. 22nd of March, 2026. Got the picture of Shakur Stevenson. Getty is the credit for the image. Zab Judah has offered a few words of advice for Shakur Stevenson, warning him against making the same mistake that saw him lose to the likes of Floyd Mayweather and Miguel Cotto. The unbeaten Southpaw became a 4-division world champion in January, outpointing Teofimo Lopez with a terrifically dominant performance to claim his WBO super lightweight title. Prior to producing that career-defining display, though many question whether Stevenson would be too small, muy pequeño, against a fully fledged 140-pound champion like Teo. As it happened, the slick technician was contending with a slight size disadvantage, but allowed his extraordinary skills to shine through, dropping just one round on all 3 judges' scorecards. It is therefore worth considering whether the 28-year-old will ever be beaten. And if so, would it simply be a case of him facing a naturally bigger man? Man, this article is already giving lip gloss. It's giving throat coat. It's giving tonsil jewelry. It's giving knee pads, y'all. According to Judah, who became an undisputed welterweight champion, but felt undersized. I've never felt undersized, y'all. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I just been living my life, man. I've been dealing with what I got, you know what I'm saying? I'm good with what I got. Never been feeling like I never felt like I was undersized. Except for when I was born. 3 pounds, 7 ounces. That's the only time, and I don't think I felt it. I think by the time I was aware that that's how much I weighed when I was born, I think I already was cool with the size I was when I realized that fact. So I don't really relate to that. While competing at 147 pounds, Stevenson should avoid becoming a victim of popular demand. In other words, the former 2-division world champion has told McDonald's that the American, well, let me be fair, man. Mill City Boxing. My bad. I got Tourette's, y'all. Not really though. The American would be most wise to stay at 140 pounds. He has a small frame. At 140 pounds, Shakur is going to shut down. He'd be like how I was at 147. I was competing with 147-pound fighters, but I was a small guy. Everybody was bigger than me. My set of skills was the only thing that could get me in there with those guys. Eureka! Shakur got skills, but why give a disadvantage to yourself? Stay at 140 pounds and become the fucking king. If he stays at 140 and chooses not to go up to 147, nobody can dispute that. I smell a whole lot of hyperbole. Stevenson would indeed be putting himself at a size disadvantage against the likes of Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, despite both world champions previously competing at lightweight. And so, as Judah says, it would perhaps be best for him to remain at 140 pounds or even drop back down to 135 pounds for the time being. Man, like, well, y'all heard it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all seen the article now. You know, we got to put something in that rucksack. We got to put something in that rucksack, man. So allow us to do just that. We having issues? Can you hear me, AC? Can you hear me, AC? AC.
Yeah. I was looking for my mute button. Yeah.
Okay.
You something crystal clear to me.
Oh, okay. All right. So, all right. You know, YouTube was funny, man. I just got this thing saying I was having technical difficulty. But let me just go ahead and let me proceed, y'all. Let me proceed. Let me show y'all something, man. Now, so lately we've been doing these investigations. Lately we've been doing these investigations, man, and I'll be saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words, man, when it come down to this, man. And it's y'all like getting ridiculous. You know, these things that we're actually coming across, but somebody gotta put on they mud boots and get down and dirty, you know, and do the dirty work. You know, somebody gotta everybody can't fit on the elevator, y'all. Y'all do know that. There's a capacity, there's a poundage, you know, that you can, you know, you gotta be when you get on an elevator. So some of us, we like taking the stairs. But the narrative is that Shakur is too small for 140 pounds. But the numbers don't support that. Okay? So I want to squash that. Now, there's a guy, I gotta give credit to this guy, man. He cooked Shakur for about 50-something minutes, man, this morning, man. A big channel, Boxing Ego, cooked him, man. A lot of the things that, you know, we say over here, you know, we've said it, you know, we were saying it like last week and the week before, but he arrived at the same conclusion this morning, you know, of a lot of the things that we, you know, went over here, you know, last couple of weeks. He came out and cooked them for 57 minutes. He expounded upon some of the same things that we typically, you know, maybe like mine's, but he did that. So I'm not going to do that. All I want to do is I want to nip this one narrative in the bud because I'm sick of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing it. Shakur is 5'8", only 1 to 2 inches shorter than most champions. Russell and Hitchens are 5'10". That's not a massive gap, and I don't know if Russell and Hitchens are the same height. I'm not sure. So when you look at Puello, like, I'm not sure. Like, sometimes they be doing that, but like, you got to go to the fights. I was standing right next. I'm 5'10". I was standing right in front of Richardson Hitchens. And Richardson Hitchens, and he don't look like I'm 5'10". I'm 5'10". He was right in front of me, and he wasn't as tall as me. So I don't know, man. Like, how these, unless he had a growth spurt since that Boots versus Imanis Stanianis fight, I'm not sure. But we can't go by that. Dalton Smith is 5'9", nearly identical. Reach-wise, Shakur is 68 inches, basically identical to Russell. So they got the same arms in like an inch. Like, it's funny that, you know what I'm saying, you're coming over to a boxing channel and we're talking about size now, because remember, I think size always mattered, you know what I'm saying, because different people would try to tell you. In boxing, they say skills pay the bills. I'm thinking that might apply in life, but I don't know. Either way, I thought size mattered. It matters for some people and not others. But they're really pushing this. Only Hitchens stand out with a 74-inch arm reach. Like, he's the outlier. He's like he's not the standard. He got a 74-inch arm reach. Shakur's not small. He's right in the middle of the division physically. Like, he's right in the middle. So we're gonna end this argument here. Like every champion weighs in at like 139 to or either bang on at 140 pounds. That's what it is when you're in that division. This is the division limit. And everyone is like right there. Shakur is already weighing in at 139 plus. So 139 plus, right below the limit at 140 in his first fight at 140. That tells you that his body is already filling into the division. And he's not just going to put on, he's not the type that's going to arbitrarily just put on muscle. The point of the matter is he's not making as much as a weight cut. He's not draining. He's not undersized. He's on par with everybody else. You bring Tank Davis into the picture, smaller height, shorter reach, he still dominates. And I'm gonna conclude to say that size is not the issue, it's skill. And if you got the skill to pay the bills, then it is what it is. Height, reach, weight. There is no category where Shakur is drastically behind. Height, he's within range. Reach, it's competitive. Him and Gary Antoine Russell got the same. So if he was an inch taller, like, what are we talking about, y'all? And it's showing how much these guys win and how much they weighed for the last 3 fights. If that's the way true campaigning in. And like right now, aside from Richardson Hitchens having that IBF rehydration, nobody at 140 was crying about weight. Think about it. Nobody was saying the same thing they were saying about Devin when he was at 35, or even Devin at 40, or even Devin like right now. Like they're not saying the same things. Think about it. Richardson Hitchens, he went through that whole thing that he went through because he was going with the IBF. On the day of, it's same day weigh-in. You can't be more than 10 pounds than the day before. And if you over there, if you like somewhere where it's early, like on the East Coast, like if you over there on the West Coast where it's later or whatever, like yeah, you might have a little more wiggle room where you can rehydrate all day. You got more time, you know. But like when you on the East Coast, you don't have it. He was the only one, and guess what? He still made weight. He didn't blow weight like Wally Kid and Wally Cat. He still didn't blow weight. He made the weight on weigh-in. He made the weight the day after. He got sick and pulled out the fight after that. But outside of that, where a special indicator is with the IBF, nobody else's 140 is crying about how much they sucking down and making weight. These guys are not balloon. Now, if you look at Andy Hirioka, but the fact that he came over with jet lag coming from Japan and how big his frame. And he's a big dude. You can see it. He's tall, long, and he has the muscular build. Like Andy Hirioka. He the only one, but it ain't like 1,000 Andy Hiriokas in the division. So when height, he's within range. Within reach, it's competitive. With weight, it's identical to the other champions. So what are we really saying? The undersized narrative is not based on data. It's based on perception. Shakur is not small. He's just being considered being more skilled than the other one. This is not a size problem. This is more like a skill gap. And I'm not sure, but like it seems like right when when you start saying, all right, look, I'm about to go play with the big boys. No Diddy. You start wondering whether or not like I don't get it. I needed to smash it. I wanted to take that narrative down and poke all kind of crazy holes in it, because when it comes down to Tank, I've never openly heard not one of these guys come out and say, and we seen on that chart where it say he is. 5'5.5" with a 67.5-inch arm reach. Ain't nobody out here crying and saying, "Oh, Tank is just, he really is a small guy." But like, we didn't hear all this stuff. Like when he was jaw jacking with Conor Ben at 47. We ain't hear none of that. Even with the Ryan thing, and people want to go into that and this and that, but he done flip flop again. I ain't got to do it. Somebody else did this earlier. They cooked him for like 57, 58 minutes. So I'm not cooking him. All I want to do is just destroy this whole undersized narrative. My biggest thing, I just showed you, I gave you something. So where if you go back, you pause this, you screenshot that, do your research, do your homework. Like, it's a waste of time. Y'all gonna be talking about something that's gonna actually get him to fight a competitor. They'll be actually want to see him fight. Not how big he is. And I had these guys that's Hall of Famers, borderline Hall of Famers, or legends that we looked up to coming out here with this shenanigans. It's like, it perturbs me, man. That's number one. That's number one. That's number one. D Calico, salute. Number two. Xander will be slandered by the Beehive. Listen, it's you got to be on high alert. You got to be on high alert because everybody. This is just like when I start assimilating you with a hive. That means that you've made it to a point in time where your fan base and the media has shown like super duper tremendous interest in protecting you at all costs, like the president. So they'll get out, they'll create narratives, they'll railroad people, they'll belittle fan bases, they'll like pretty much like the certain fan bases, the ones that have a hive, the D hive, the key hive, the core hive, the Beehive, the D hive. Like they got those ones to where if you listen to them enough, you would be like, well, why is he even going to fight this next guy? That's getting ready to come with Xander. They're getting ready to start doing it with Xander. They did it with Brian Norman, right? And that could have been him, like Devin. You know what I'm saying? Devin could come out with a Ray J track. I hit it first. Like, yeah, hey, I hit it first. Like, so whatever it is, like that could have been Boots. Last night, that fight with Adamas and them, when we were saying go up there to 160 and make it, you know what I'm saying, get it hot. Like, hey, you could have, that could, like, instead of ammo, that could have been you, Boots. But the fan base slandered Brian Norman. Did Senior say some things that, you know, raise some eyebrows and get people, you know, all worked up and all riled up? Absolutely. Absolutely. But if you listen to Brian Norman Jr., you look at how he conduct business and the fact that he went on to, after the loss, create a throwback promotions and sign Edwin De Los Santos, La Granada, The Grenade on his promotional company. It says a lot. It speaks volumes. He went and got Ronnie Shields. He gave Devin his salutes and said, listen, man, you got a machine behind you. I need something like that. Hey, you learned me something, man. I'm humble. Yeah, you beat me fair and square. You beat me in the mental warfare. You know, he owned up to it. He matured. He went on from it. They slandered that man. We went over how by paperwork, by rules, by moves that Eddie do. That fight wasn't going to be able to go down. His fans still slandered Brian Norman. Like they're still saying that today. If you ask somebody today, they'll tell you, yeah, Brian Norman, they didn't want that fight at that time. It's like, no, you still have not paid attention to what actually went on. Like, but that's a dead horse. That could have been you. The Bakram, that could have been you. But they want to run down, get Ismail Lima, and then run down on Virgil. And what happened? For 3 months to the day, they slandered Virgil. Oh, he don't want to fight. We knew he didn't want to fight when he said it was 48. It was going to take him 48 months. Like, okay, what other sign do you need? Like, do I got to tattoo it on you, like, to let you know? Like, listen, I really don't have no real intentions on fighting. If we collide, and we can do it for a big bag, and it's, you know, it's case of Ross and it makes sense. Okay, cool. But we knew he wasn't on there. And then the thing was, you already turned down a fight with that dude. That didn't stop them from slandering Virgil. Oh man, this man's a duck. I said, man, y'all cannot be like that. You can't go in there with all that mess hall in your chest out, with you in the mess hall with your chest out. You can't go out there like that. Like, you don't got that kind of leverage, bro. Like, he's with another promoter, bro. Y'all made them lose like triple what, and it was proven. But we said it in real time. We talked about this subject ad nauseum. They still took a all over Virgil every chance they got. So now he's in Golden Boy purgatory unless he act nice and use his manners and say please and thank you. With Oscar, that's his situation. But guess what? Boots is in Matchroom purgatory. And he ain't got to do all of that. It's just Eddie don't got no plan. I think Eddie got that man to do exactly what he did with Demetrius Andre. Keep him away from the guys who he really can make a lot more money off of. But since that's not catering to our interests over here in America, you wouldn't understand that. Because you siding with them, not the voice of reason. So they done pivoted. They finally say, I said, man, damn, it's been 4 months. That was what, November the 8th? On March the 8th, we came out and talked about it. I said, man, it's been 4 months. And y'all hitched that, y'all trailer to that wagon. Y'all didn't have a plan B. Y'all didn't have a plan C. Y'all just ignoring Jamel Charlo. He can't get a fight. It's like, oh, what has he done? Now they starting to come around and sing all this accolade salad for old Jamel now. Oh, yeah, he was the former. Yeah, I wonder why. Because y'all wasn't doing y'all due diligence. Y'all did the proverbial put all y'all eggs in that one basket. And it ended up tragic. We just want to see Boots fly the coop. And now they have Xander in the crosshairs. I'm not sure why Xander, because this is the same thing. This is like running your head straight into that brick wall. The only solace I have is the fact that the Zone and, Top Rank did that deal. So that let me know, okay, all right, cool. At least there's a bridge. When they say there's a will, there's a way. Mind you, Virgil and Boots, they was on Matchroom too. You know what I'm saying? Conor Ben, the one that we thought, he was over there on Matchroom up until he went zoops upside Eddie Hearn's head. So what I'm preparing you all with and saying, listen, man, it's why I say fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. Do not be out here going after Xander Zayas and acting all crazy and acting like he gotta go do this and that. Like, no, listen, first of all, lower your tone and keep your hands on the car. I say, lower your tone and keep your hands on the car. The reason why I say that is because going 254, the man had 3 straps. He had, according to YouTube, he had the Precious. He had the ring belt. Because they trying to act like that's the Precious. He had that. And then he had the IBF, the one I respect the most because of the 10-pound rehydration to keep people honest. And they'll strip the shit out you if you don't fight who you need to fight. Check them out. And he had the WBA. He didn't use none of that leverage. He just jumped up to 54 and was like, you got to fight me and you got to fight me and you got to fight me, but I need 2 tune-ups. You got to fight me and you going to fight me, but I'm doing a Linguini method. That's what he did. So now they done exhausted all their resources, putting all their eggs in that one basket. And that didn't happen. And now they got their crosshairs on Xander. And I'm like, I don't know if it's going to happen. But what I do know is Josh Kelly got a contract with your name on it, and when it come down to that side and whoever represent Boots, all I hear is a whole bunch of yapping. They are not going to really, do not slander Xander. Xander did, okay, it was political, was it? Yeah, okay, cool. But he's been playing the part, whatever. If you want to say it's political, because I seen what happened with Charles Conwell. I was talking to Ohio Run Boxing, salute to Ohio Run Boxing. He represent his people, all them boxers in Ohio. like proper, like shout out to him. I know they did the Charles Conwell with Chino Perez and how they lined him up and got Xander that strap, but Xander turned right around and went and got Abbas Baru. You can say what you want, but it's an art to finesse and get these people to get in the ring with you and to have a fight and all that. Like it's a little dance. You can't come in there like, yeah, you can be washing my drawers and holding my pocket. And next thing you know, you getting up on the top bunk. And you got to stay up all night. And you cleaning up the cell. And you handing over your commissary. So y'all can get on this bandwagon if y'all want to and start slandering Xander and start talking all this crazy stuff and saying this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like if y'all want to, I wouldn't do it. I'm saying keep your blood pressure down. Why? Because Josh Kelly make more sense. And if Xander can actually convince Josh Kelly to come over or whatever, all I know is that Josh Kelly got that stadium of light. We put up the facts. It's between 48 and 65,000 people over there. As the champ of the IBF, he gonna want to do a fight over there. I'm like, what are we talking about? What are we waiting for? But they got Xander in their crosshairs, and if y'all can do the same thing they did with the Normans, y'all can do the same thing they did with Virgil. If y'all do the same thing with Xander, and I just look at y'all like y'all stupid, then you heard it right here. Bodywork. We told you, don't even get worked up. The last one. Well, not the last one, because I added one right at the end. Roy Jones says nobody cares about Zuffa belts. And I'm like, thank you, Roy. Finally. We can qualify by something that an actual boxer, a Hall of Famer, my childhood, one of my favorite. At that time, him and Tyson, my favorite boxers. He came on and said nobody cares about Zuffa belts. And he said it like Roy be talking so fast, man. He be talking so fast, but if you listen to him, he put it right there. He delivered the punch right there. He said, listen, these guys came up well behind the other sanctioning bodies. And then when they came in again, they said they didn't want to work with them. He's like, what sense did that make? He said, who cares about a Zuffa belt? Like, who even care about a Zuffa belt? Like, if you want to be undisputed, then why would you? He was like, man, did you make a bad decision? Yeah, he's like, but now you gotta go back, because they kept trying to ask him and trying to play that victim game for Jao Patai and all this. Roy wasn't having none of that. So I'm glad that a Hall of Famer actually came on and said, man, that Zuffa belt, man, why? Because one, you gotta think, they're picking the guys. Like from these other guys' ranking system. Like, yeah, I saw Shorty in a Jet magazine. I remember, man, it was April. I seen her. She was in the, you know what I'm saying? She was the April edition. I seen her in Jet magazine. And that's how she got there. But then out here, you go to the party, you link up, you find her, you do whatever. You go to the party or whatever, and you tell her, yeah, we met online. Like, yeah, technically you did. But the notoriety came from her being in the Jet magazine, bruh. The notoriety was this man was number 10 in the IBF, bro. And you took the champion from the IBF and the number 10 guy and brought him over there and said, we're gonna give you a belt. No shit, Sherlock. So what the fuck is the Zuffa belt worth, man? And I'm just glad that finally, here lately, like Roy, I was like, man, I was leaning on Roy and hoping that Roy would continue on the path that he was for a second. It looked like he compromised. Looked like he might be on his way back. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just appreciating that he said, man, nobody care about no Zuffa belt, man. Like, nobody cared, man. That's the housekeeping. And I know I said a lot, you know what I'm saying? But AC, but what you got, brother? I don't know if you got your mute on or not, but
Yeah, my bad. Well, this is where I am. I'm gonna start off with the Shakur thing, and I'm gonna say it like this. Floyd, according to BoxRec, started at 130, went all the way up to 150. Heaviest weight he fought in his career, according to BoxRec stats, is 151 pounds. Dab started at 140, and we need to understand this. He started at 140 and went only up to 147. 140 and 147. So you're saying you're small. So what was your walk around weight? Okay. Floyd Mayweather was the guy that came out, at least in my recollection of boxers, where he was like, and coined the phrase, size don't matter, it's skills that pay the bills, right? Oshaki Foster is 130 pounds, 5'8.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. Jamel Herring, 130 pounds. He never fought above 135 pounds. He's 5'10". He's taller than Shakur. So Zab,
What's his arm reach?
Huh?
What's his arm reach? My bad. What's his arm reach? What's Jamel's arm reach? Just FYI, if you know. Do you know?
No, I don't believe they had his
Keep
arm
cooking.
reach.
Keep cooking. Keep cooking. Keep cooking.
But basically, I'm saying it like this. Jamel Herring was the bigger guy facing Shakur. You know what I'm saying? So that destroys your whole entire argument. Shakur going up to 130 destroys your argument, Zab. Shakur leaving 126 pounds and going up to 130 destroys your argument. So when your entire argument, Zab, is completely thrown under the bus, ran over a couple of times, then taken, put in a box, flown on a jet, and then dropped from the highest altitude on a cement road. So there is nothing about that has legs that can walk. Because if that's the case, you don't do what Shakur's been doing. If he's Terrence Crawford, little bro, he doesn't do that. If you have some sort of relation to Devin Haney, it would surprise me that you wouldn't give that information to Devin Haney first, not to Shakur. So in all things that I know, and you were one of my guys, I literally got into a weird ass fist fight with a dude over you versus Floyd Mayweather. You feel me? So at the end of the day, Zab, I've been a huge fan of yours. It broke my heart to see you get smacked like that by Kostya Tszyu. But if we're going by the standard where all of these guys want to be Floyd Mayweather-like, Floyd Mayweather never complained about nobody's size. Look at him like, oh, you too big for me. Oh, he's too this. He went and fought Conor. He went and fought the MMA dude who outweighed him and all of that. He fought Jake Paul, Logan Paul, or whatever the fuck the dude's name was. Knocked him out and was holding him up like, hold on, dude, wake up. I got money on this. So at the end of the day, man, these dudes in Zab, you could miss me, because Floyd ended his career undefeated because he was the consummate dude that skills paid the bills. Okay, when we look at Conor Benn in the same vein, for what you're saying, Zab, Shakur and Conor Benn was on Ariel Helwani. Ariel Helwani asked Conor Benn, well, what was his weight right now? He said, right now I'm about 154. Well, he was a little bit heavier, but he was like, I probably can make 154 if I'm looking for a fight soon. Shakur then comes on and says, I'll fight you at 154. So where is this narrative that he's willing to go up, and even if it is a rehydration clause, Shakur still has to put on that weight? So where's this talk of smallness? Where the fuck is this talk at? And if we're talking about smallness, why the fuck did Shakur fight Oscar Valdez? You had no problem fighting Oscar Valdez, who's taller and has a slightly around the same reach as Tank. But he's a little bit taller than Tank. You had no problem fighting Oscar Valdez, but there's this issue with fighting Tank. So Zab, Shakur, miss me with that. just miss me with that narrative. I'm not buying it, and I won't buy it. Not even if it was on sale at the 99-cent store. Concerning Boots and Eddie, here's where I am with this. Eddie told you he was going to get all of these big fights, sign with me, blah, 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 blah. You traded in all your hardware for Wisma Lima. Then Eddie stood right next to you after the Wisma Lima fight. And this would have been the first red flag. He's not fighting Conor Benn. I'm not putting Conor Benn in the ring with him. Within the same interview, maybe minutes later, Eddie then says, I love domestic fights. I'd love to put on domestic fights. You're sitting right next to one of the hottest names in American boxing. And you're sitting there right next to that guy and his daddy and telling both of them, I love domestic fights and he is not getting Conor Benn. What fucking else do you need for Eddie Hearn to say, I don't have your best interests in mind, Jerron Boots Ennis. I got you here to sit on you and use you as the noodle. You are my wet fucking noodle. I'm gonna take your name and constantly throw it up against the wall. And when people stick and then they follow the narrative, then I can use that to build up my fighters, my domestic fighters. If there was this contract between you and Josh Kelly got that contract on your name, Josh Kelly wins his belt and then makes an abrupt 360 and say, Boots great fighter, but he brings nothing to the table. But great fighter. So at the end of the day, they don't want to fight you. They don't want you over there. They don't got nothing lined up for you. So what the fuck are you doing, Boots? What the fuck are you doing with Eddie right now? I'm just trying to figure that out. So Xander versus Josh Kelly, unification, I can see that happen. I can probably see them working on that quietly because they just used your name as the wet noodle. Well, let's you know what? Get me that pack of pasta, that pack of linguine that's labeled Jerron Ennis. Yeah, kind of boil it up a little bit, make sure it just takes on enough water that it's malleable. You could twist it around your finger, it's malleable enough, and then we could just throw it against this nice wall right here. We got this wall already set, already cured, already tempered. So shit we throw up against it sticks like glue. So they're using you to build the fight between Xander Zayas and Josh Kelly. And if you're not aware of that, bro, then I don't know what else to tell you. But Eddie just doesn't have your name in mind. Where there might be hope for you, where there might be hope for you, I would ask you and Eddie, knowing the situation with Virgil, to start getting in the ear and talking to Fundora if Fundora should be Keith Thurman. Boots versus Fundora. There you go. He's a champion. He's this, he's that. Other than that, I know the best fight for you. But I also know you're not willing to take that possible L from that guy because he's hungry. But if Keith Thurman wins, bet we probably see that guy come out. And that's Mel Charlo. And that'll just tell you the difference between the generations of where Boots is. You feel what I'm saying? Because as soon as the Tuscan pudding pop truck pulled up in the neighborhood in front of his house, he ran and said, Daddy, give me $3. I'm going to the ice cream truck in front of the house. Give me $3. All right, boy, make sure you get me one too. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't see you taking on the Mel Charlo. I could see you taking on Fundora because Keith Thurman, if Fundora should win, the best case scenario is Keith Thurman shows flaws, serious flaws that you being the better athlete can easily capitalize on. Y'all gonna run to Fundora like, you know, like Fundora's a $2 hoe. And you just came home off a 20-year bid, ain't touched nothing. And just to end things off, man, I just wanted to say it like this. I understand me. I understand my anatomy. I understand I am a male. I understand this above all. I'm not trying to twist myself in no pretzels because there's certain part of my anatomy I just don't want that close to my fucking face. So that's just an old school dude trying to say it like an old school dude would tell you. Don't twist yourself in pretzels because you might find something in your face that you go, whoa! You know what I'm saying? So it's just not a good look. Stay 10 toes down, P standing up, and if you got a squat, you know what it is. So at the end of the day, bro, that's where I'm gonna end it. Hitchens, happy to see you back. Hopefully, you got a solid game plan moving forward, and you know that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man, that's the one I didn't say out loud, but yeah, there's been a Hitchens sighting. He looked happy, he looked healthy, he was back to his normal self. Didn't see any interview of him talking a lot of smack, but he did seem like his temperament, his behavior. He seemed like he was smiling. He was, you know, who was he in the ring? He was looking at Jermaine Ortiz, and the caption said, "We might not, it might not have happened in the ring, but it's gonna happen something." But Jermaine Ortiz was in the ring. He was outside the ring. They was, you know, laughing and talking and pointing at each other, and he was moving around, jumping around. So I was getting kind of concerned, man. I had an APB out on old Hitch because after he caught the duck flu, he can't, you know, he after the duck flu, he kind of disappeared. We seen Coach Lenny, you know, he got out in front of the cameras and did what he needed to do. But we didn't see Richardson Hitch. Only thing you didn't touch on before you touch on it, you came up with something. See, the Joker said never rub up against another man's rhubarb, but I think a better fortune cookie would be what AC said. Never be another man's wet noodle. You know what I'm saying? You never know what it'll do to you. And I've never allowed myself to be another man's wet noodle. You know, I just, I'm allergic. I think I'm pretty sure I am, but you know, the only other thing you didn't touch on was Roy saying he didn't care about the Zuffa belt.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's great. That's great that we finally got a veteran to just come out and hold down the real sport of boxing in a way that what you say really, really matters. Because to a lot of people outside of Floyd, you are their number one boxer. You're the guy that got a certain generation boxing. So with that being said, the power that Roy Jones' voice carries, sometimes he may say things that we're disappointed on, but we still have to be like, you know what? It's disappointing, but you're the Hall of Famer. It's yada yada yada, and the same thing goes for my comments that I was saying about Zab. I would never disrespect Zab because number one, Zab will kick my ass. Number two, you know what I'm saying? I respect you as a champion. I respect what you did in boxing and stuff like that, and I respect the fact that, you know, you may you're more than likely going to be a Hall of Famer if you're not already a Hall of Famer. So I just have to say, yeah, that's a little bit disappointing, but I just don't disagree with that. Just like with Roy, just like with Andre Ward, just like with Timothy Bradley. I don't have to agree with everything that they say, but I give them their respect. And what I'm saying to Roy is, I respect you a hell of a lot, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate, as a boxing fan, you being on the right side of this argument, because we need voices like you to help tell some of these young fighters that Zuffa shit, that's just a professional amateur situation, because they're taking the credibility away from everything. Because now, if your shit is attached to ring, then where is the legitimacy in ring, in the fact that you can't fight any sanctioned fighters? And since the sanctioning bodies came into existence, the ring or Police Gazette or Lineal Champion has always had that affiliation with sanctioned fights, because it gives credibility in the definition that Body gave when we did the business of boxing. His closing arguments, he went through the points of why the sanctioning bodies are important. It gives legitimacy. So if there's nothing sanctioned about the ring belt, there's nothing sanctioned about the Zuffa belt, what's the difference? Is the amateurs actually better than Zuffa? And that's where I'll leave it, because that's a whole new conversation right there. Because the amateurs, you get something that actually does a lot for you. When it comes down to Zuffa, I have to ask the question, what the fuck did Zuffa bring for you after you did all of that?
Yeah. It did what you said, man. It painted you over there in the corner.
Yeah.
It mopped you over there in the corner, and now you gotta wait for everything to dry and clear up for you to even step out again. So yeah, but that's the housekeeping, man. Good points. Frontline, Bodywork. Salute, frontline. Panel, chat. Salute. Well, I think we did our just do. We got caught up on some housekeeping, and we touched on a couple things, and we're gonna keep the party going, man. We're gonna get right into Z meat and Z potatoes. You probably like, why did he say Hawk Smash? He said Hawk Smash because there was this narrative that the belts don't matter and this and that. And I want you all to take a moment, take a second of introspection. And I want you to ask yourself, in what direction have they been present? Zuffa, that these belts don't matter and this and that. I couldn't tell. Because Ammo got out there. He was attempting to, he wasn't fighting Carlos Adames because they were saying Carlos Adames was the baddest man on the planet. He was fighting Carlos Adames because he had Z green belt. And I can't tell, but I remember a guy, he won. You know what I'm saying? They were saying he was the baddest man on the planet in his era, recently retired, jumped up, put hands and hooves on Canelo Alvarez. Stepped out and said the belts don't matter. I couldn't tell, but I swear the jubilation, the elation, the celebration that took place when the first Guatemalan got an interim belt, interim WBC belt, interim. Because I remember when Tank got this, they call them secondary belts. You're not gonna find that in no textbook or no formal publication where they call it secondary, but you know what it means. When it's not the world, WBC world, or if they got a super, like if it's not a super above that, like if it's not the WBC, world champion, IBF world champion, WBA world champion or super, if it's not that, The interim belts was pretty much used in cases like where your fighter might have got hurt or been dealing with, like with the Charlos, dealing with mental issues, so they made him in recess. And then they said, okay, they gave somebody an interim, meaning that, you know, you can hold this spot down when homie come back and he's well and he can fight, you got to give him a shot. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to keep the party going while they step away. That's originally what it was. Now they've started, a while ago, they started putting people in that position. But when I looked at Bomac, when I looked at that whole team and how godly proud they were of Lester Martinez, and he did a good job. He was emotional. He welled up. He had all his Guatemalans out there. They had the flags out there. I couldn't tell that belts don't matter. And the way everybody was celebrating, that's why I say, man, y'all, you know, when I see and hear certain things from week to week, like it really kind of like, it irks me. It's perturbing because it's like, y'all, okay, so next week, this is why I've started putting up like the belt that's, you know, involved with the matches, so that even if you don't know what date, I start putting the date up there, but I start including the belt. Why? Because obviously it matters. Why? Because we told y'all in the business of boxing what all the sanctioning bodies do. We came right back around and told you how Shakur used that same sanctioning body who we said wasn't stuff to get one of his higher paydays. In step with, in alignment with getting a belt. But that narrative that belts don't matter got Hawk smashed last night. It was an all green affair. That's all I kept thinking. I said, oh man, this kind of shattering in there. Look at Bomac. That's the guy who was the partners with. It's B and B. It's Bud and Bomac. Like, that's the partner. So they got another guy, and guess what? He's petitioning for that guy to get his shot at Canelo Alvarez. And why would that be? It wouldn't just because he's like, you know, one of the highest, most popular, most devastating knockout artists from Guatemala. No, it's why? It's because right now at this point, like after last night, now after he got his hand raised, now they can justify that he's of the pedigree to be able to get in the ring with a Canelo. So a lot of narratives got Hawk smashed last night. It was an all green affair because the green belts were up in the air where Carlos Adames was defending his and Lester was making his case to become the heir apparent. With an interim, no. But they celebrated like he had that WBC world, you know. Y'all know who got that. Christian and Billy. So I say put that in your pipe and smoke it. It kind of like, it just makes a lot of things. So if you, especially if you come over here rocking with us, you can come over here and try to troll or try to kick it and be the jokester, blah, blah, blah. But like, when we in our zone and we trying to be serious about this and we really trying to take the conversation somewhere so we can actually get around to getting the fight, miss us with that whole belts don't matter stuff. Miss us with that, man. Like this, like you falling victim to the same stuff that, you know, the sugar daddy did. When I said y'all was subject to just, you know, overvaluing all things foreign. Just because it's foreign, it don't mean it's worth more. Because you gotta pay more. Like, no, that's because you don't, like, it's product that's just as good as the foreign. You just don't value it as much. You fell victim to that. Now everybody's falling victim to the Zuffa. And it's like, man, I don't know what kind of game they running, but if you're gonna take two fighters, basically you stealing. If I take two fighters out of your ranking system, who you rank, who you sanction, who you put on fights, who you got a business agreement with, I take them over there and say, oh man, yeah, we're gonna give you the Captain Crunch belt. We're gonna give you the Apple Jacks belt. Yeah, you're gonna be the first one, you're gonna be the perennial, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, so what does that mean? When you took them from them ranking system. It makes no sense. But it's obvious that belts matter. that's the segue. That's all I was thinking about, AC. I mean, aside from the verdict, Lester, I mean, typical. I think he's still, you know, he's still kind of raw, but you know, my parlay was messed up like in a couple different ways, but all of the people that I picked to win won, so I would have won, but like I called for stoppages. Carlos Adames, he came through the same way I kind of called. I said, man, he been in there with more skilled people, even though I'm not sure if it was something wrong with his right. I don't know if it was his right or his left. I don't know if it was something wrong, but he made respectfully, he made Ammo Williams look like a not a Ferengi. Who was the other dude from Star Wars? The black dude who had the the rhinoceros forehead. He made him look like one of them, man. It wasn't a Ferengi. I don't know what that character was, but
a Klingon.
He rearranged a what? A Klingon. Yeah. He had man. I was like, damn. He turned this nigga into a Klingon, man. God damn, man. You all right, bro? I was like, man, like in Ammo. That's what I said, man. Last time he got my prediction was, I said, man, last time I seen Ammo that emotional, man, he put a feather in his head on some Indian shit and then went in there with Hamza and got his shit pushed in. So I didn't like all that veins and all. I'm gonna fight to the like, yeah, man. He kind of corralled you. He dropped you. You know, he spins you around, made you do the hokey pokey. And then I don't know if something was wrong with him, but like it looked like Carlos Adames, he could outbox and outmaneuver because it's just boxing. It's just certain movements to where it's like, okay, you don't know how to beat this. Like I'm gonna keep doing that same move. I'm gonna keep pivoting out this way, and since you don't know how to cut it off or adjust, easy win. Like, and he said it was easy money. It wound up being easy money. I put for a stoppage. I put for Lester to get a stoppage. I put for Carlos Adames to get a stoppage, and the other fight was that Terramona to get a stoppage, and Terramona was the only one. I always sprinkle like $10 on all these fights to see if I can make 100 or make 90 something. I think that would have been like 92, but I wasn't bent out of shape. It was my little $10 on it. But that's what I saw with that, man. What do you think about what I said about, you know, all these narratives about the belts not mattering and what we saw last night?
Well, I'm gonna say this. Since Zuffa has been trying to make their play, regular boxing has been making these quiet moves. Some have bigger impacts than others, but we've been seeing a consistency to where the business of boxing has been showing that the sanctioned side of boxing is still going to be the future of boxing. To try to get to a situation to where boxing is no longer sanctioned and shit like that doesn't make any sense, because to a certain degree UFC fights are sanctioned, you know. So at the end of the day, I look at it like this. I've always said that belts matter. When you get to a certain level where your name is actually the belt or has more value than the belt, then you have transcended the belts, and you know, but you're still going to need the sanctioning bodies to sanction a fight. And if a belt is on the line, it's just another trophy for you. We've seen, what was that, over 20 something belts that Floyd Mayweather had, you know, laying on the bed or whatever, and you know, we were just looking at his belt collection like, God damn. So if a person values that and then creates a whole wall of every belt that they've ever won, and you're trying to say that belts don't matter and then use Floyd as your example, then you have no idea who Floyd Mayweather is, was, or what he stood for. Because almost all of his fights, a belt was on the line. So at the end of the day, I'm happy that the show that we saw last night, or the shows that we saw last night, are reinforcing the fact that belts matter. Because without that, I just can't see a world where Shannon where Shannon Briggs is even born. Like, if you don't have belts, the world of Shannon Briggs, Let's Go champ, has no meaning. And that used to be the shit. Let's go, champ. I used to have jokes. Like he in the bed getting busy with his girl, and he like, let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, I've even got involved in a debate where I was saying belts matter. And I've gone all the way to the fact that if belts didn't matter, we could never talk about Murderers Row. Because every one of those guys in Murderers Row were upset, and Murderers Row was created because those guys didn't have the opportunity to fight for a belt. That's the difference of where black fighters way back in the days in the oppressive age. You know what I'm saying? And we're talking before the civil rights movement. These belts made black men human. So for you to come and try to talk to me about belts don't matter. Yeah, young fighter, belts don't matter. I look at Virgil like, Virgil, shut the fuck up. Virgil, you haven't done anything. So I don't see where you have the platform or the balls to say that belts don't matter. You haven't done shit, Virgil. So you could be one of those guys. If you want to be one of those guys, be one of those guys. It doesn't matter to me. But for Tank to get where Tank is and people to recognize Tank, yeah, it was his performances, but Tank is also a champion. He may not like to pay the sanctioning fees and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, he knows that those belts put extra zeros on the contract. And he's a couple of fights with the 3 fights. He completely transcends the belts. And then Tank is like, yeah, belts don't matter. But here's an interesting or fun fact. Many people think Errol Spence was the person who started strap season. It was actually Tank Davis. That's where Tank and Errol almost had their beef when they was in that little hallway, because he was like, yo, what is you doing? That's my shit.
Yep. You right.
So, yeah, bro. So understand, people respect the belts. Young fighters want that first championship because you'll always remember it. You'll always remember that feeling. And if you get into a big fight and you win that big fight, that big mega fight, does that feel as big as winning your first belt? And for many fighters who are legends and retired, they're like, nothing, undisputed, lineal, none of that shit means anything over the time I got my first belt. When I got that first belt, I was like, I'm on top of the world. I fucking did it. That's why you tend to see fighters cry and shit like that. Look at Lester Martinez's reaction. That man was all fucked up. His whole country was fucked up. And guess what? He's a fucking interim champion. But that interim belt mattered that much to him because in his country, there has not ever been an interim champion. If you watch the fight, look at the commercials. The commercials already let you know Lester is going to be the biggest thing in his country. So at the end of the day, that's what belts do for you. They make you legends. They make you immortal. And if you're a young fighter thinking because you're a young fighter, you had somewhat of an impressive, amateur career, and you think coming into boxing, your name transcends the belt, ask Loma, ask Ali, ask AJ, ask Floyd, Wilder, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis. I can name so many fighters that came home with medals, whether they're bronze, silver, or gold, that tell you when I got that first belt, it transcended my gold medal, my bronze, or whatever thing else. I was an official champion, listed as the best of the best at that time, because now I'm champ. You no longer call me Floyd. You like, what's up, champ? How's it going, champ? Champ, everything good today, champ? You know, that's why for me, being a chef, champ, it is what it is. Because when I work up to being chef and everyone, including the managers and everybody's like, chef, can I talk to you? Man, that shit still gives me goosebumps. Yes, I got it. Yeah, chef. No, chef, I'm sorry, chef, I made that mistake. Yeah, champ. Yeah, champ, you know, we gonna work on this today, champ. This shit goes hand in hand in my mind, so it's like, nah, man, I may feel Lester might not be able to beat some of the guys that I felt that looking at his performance, I'm like, I don't know if you beat a couple of these guys that's on my mind right now, but I'll give you your performance for last night. But, you know, overall, last night's show, according, if you go from the Zone's early show to the Pro Box show to the Zone's next, the big fight that came on after that, it was all belts. And that's where I'll land at right there.
Yeah, it was. I was gonna get into that. I wanted to get into the Lester Martinez and the actual performance, because I kind of feel the same way. I think that you know, he do have a puncher's chance, and maybe, you know, his will and his, you know, he'll take a shot when, you know, when you least expect it to get through. But I still think that with the elite guys, like the skilled guys, I still think it's gonna be levels. Now, he do have respectable power if he can impose your will, but like Blaze said, I kind of do agree with the rematch with him, Billy. That would be befitting, you know. Would he? I gotta see how Canelo bounced back, but would he be a good fight for Canelo? I think Canelo is too skilled for him, you know. But he was proud. You couldn't tell him that belts don't matter after that performance. And the guy that he fought, he did a decent job. He had, you know, he gave him some wrinkles, and he was in there, and he didn't look like he took a lot of punishment, but like he was getting hit, but he delivered some punishment. He didn't call him. Now I can't say that Lester got a beard. He do got a beard. Let me see.
That punch,
Lester Martinez fought
Nah, go ahead.
Lester Martinez fought a big American and fought really smart. Aleem was huge, man, and Lester was able to fight, put his hands, and keep the distance. Canelo plies, and see, that's the verdict. You know, the jury ain't even out, but like I think we've seen it because he's kind of stubborn in his ways, and he'll play rock'em sock'em, you know. And I think when you start getting with those more skilled guys to where they've been boxing for a long time, they know how to make adjustments, and they know how to like use their technique. They know how to make you play the guessing game, and, you know, start having you playing chess. I think that he's going to be outside of his league, but who knows? Sometimes they get in there and he's surprised and he land the shot that he want. I don't know, but I kind of agree. I don't think he's ready for like that upper echelon, but he's a champ. I mean, he's an interim champ, and they celebrate him like he was the real thing.
Like for me, the name that immediately came to mind is, looking at his style, is one fighter that I would completely understand if you avoided this dude at all costs. And me and you probably have the same name in mind. You feel what I'm saying? That dude that they call Turkey's boy, Hamza Shiraz. Because stylistically, Lester, when you showed up, we could see where you'll make it interesting. You know what I'm saying? But in either scenario, whether you start off slow or you start off fast and then try to slow it down like you did last night, doing that shit with Hamza is just not gonna work for you, bro. You're gonna need some different tools, because Hamza has the reach, the jab, and he knows how to fight to his advantages. And he will just have you playing keep away and just keep smacking you the fuck up. Like your face is like, I can honestly see Hamza just chewing up your face with the gloves and shit like that. And I don't know if Bomac and them could really come up with a plan that works for you to beat Hamza. I would probably say, but Pacheco might be a little bit too green, or you know what I'm saying, has that just a little bit too much. Like, I think Lester beats Pacheco, but he doesn't beat Hamza.
I was gonna ask you about Pacheco. Okay. What about Aussies? What about Aussies? Iglesias.
Oh man, don't yo. Oh. Nah, that's not like between Hamza and Iglesias. Those were the two top names that I was just like, they're gonna stop you, Lester. They're gonna beat this shit out you, and they're gonna stop you. I appreciate what Bomac is trying to do with you, but your style of fighting is just stylistically a nightmare for you versus them two guys. I just can't see you having any success. I'll give you a puncher's chance about as much as I gave, Ammo Williams last night, but I can easily see you fucking with them two guys in that fight looking like what Adames did to Ammo, but with the stoppage.
But AC, they say when champions, when you become a champion, you get 20% better.
Okay, so you're not even a real champion, so I'm gonna give you 5% better. You still gotta earn that 15%. So you know what I'm saying? I like Lester. I don't want people to get confused. Lester is one of my guys, and I was like, yo, he gonna be a problem at 68. You know what I'm saying? I'm with him versus Mbili. But when we start talking about the Iglesias getting their belts and the Hamzas getting their belts, and even if Pacheco goes back to his old ways and it's just, no, I was down for that. My head wasn't right. I was going through some shit outside the ring. If those are the type of whatever, Pacheco back on point, gives you a good fight. I would probably say you still winning a majority decision because Pacheco to me has more holes and stuff like that. And your style, Lester Martinez style, is like the better version of So-Cold. If you could take So-Cold's success of what he did in the last few rounds and you can apply that to every round, and So-Cold is one of your lead coaches on that, then I can see you really beating Pacheco, and just Pacheco may not have a chance against you.
Man, let me ask you something though, man, because we drew some parallels with him and Diego, and then we drew one with him and Hamza. But like, do you see all this talk about Edgar Berlanga out here still talking about how he got hit, felt like he got hit with a pipe and all kind of stuff, like about how he believes, and he's still insinuating that Hamza cheated that man. He has something in his glove.
Nah, I'm not going to follow that narrative because Berlanga has always had those issues, and all it needed was the right fighter. I mean, you were dropped by Canelo because you fell for Canelo's classic trap. I'm gonna put my lead foot forward, cross your line, go into my high guard, leave my little bit of body exposed and dangle that in your face. And as soon as you go for that punch, big bang, your ass is sitting down. If you look at all the young guns that Canelo done dropped, from the Munguia, Berlanga, and those guys, they all fell for the same trap. So at the end of the day, for me, it's just like you had your moments with Hamza when you took it to him early in those but when Hamza made his adjustment to just take that little half step back and then shoot his shot as he's taking that half step back, you had nothing for it. And then that started to break you down because you would drop more than once. So no, I don't believe Hamza had anything. He's just at the right weight. 160. It was just like I looked at Hamza early on and I was like, I don't know how your tall ass is making 160 pounds. I could easily see you at 168, 175. So,
Yeah, his chin insurance, man. He got the deductible for his chin insurance. I think that's the only thing. But he could get better. He could be more power. He could be at more skill. I don't know. But Melazar said Berlanga versus Lester is a good fight. You think that's a good fight?
It has the potential to be a good fight because Berlanga is going to bring it to Lester. And if Lester has those slow down moments like we saw last night, and if he gets caught with like the uppercut and that hook that old boy caught him with last night, coming from Berlanga, shit might be a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? And right now, Lester is making me just slightly nervous because I seen you do that in the Billy fight, and now I've seen you do it in this fight. And it's probably one of those things you always touch on to whereas guys just take their foot off the gas in the middle rounds. Lester, I think, is a late starter. So if he starts early, then the floor is going to be in the middle rounds. He might slow down. Where Bomac had to keep, telling him, trust in your conditioning. Remember your strength and conditioning training. You know what I'm saying? So Bomac was seeing the same thing. He's like, you're not trusting in yourself. If he starts out late, then you may be behind the 8 ball with Berlanga because Berlanga is a front runner as well. So it all depends on their game plan. If the game plan is to start out early and then the two of you are going to have your down moments, then it's just a matter of will within those between like 6 and 9 or 6 and 10 where these guys show that they slow down.
Yeah.
But it would be entertaining. I still think it'll be a good fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no real issues with it. I just feel like this at this point. If Berlanga is not moving in a way that his name is in the conversation of title contention and stuff like that, then you relegate Berlanga as a stay busy fight. Tough ass opponent, stay busy, let me use him to tune up for somebody else. He's not a tune up, he's a little bit more than a tune up because he does have the ability to sleep you, but he's a good fight. If everything else ain't working for you, then you pick the next best thing, and I would say that would be Berlanga.
I think Berlanga might be able to catch him. He might be able to, but we don't know. We don't know. I know Jaime Munguia, he getting ready to get busy. with Resendiz.
Whoa.
Berlanga, yeah, Jaime Munguia. Yeah, they went back to Jaime Munguia, the co-main for the David Benavidez versus Zerto. What I'm
Great.
being told. So, I like that, but Jaime Munguia, he done bounced back. He done went through popping hot and getting knocked out by the Frenchman. He came back and avenged it. So, I mean, we still got to see. I got to see where Berlanga is right now. All I know is this social media darling. It's like he got a couple of paydays and now he think he a rapper or something. He be all in the ring. And I get it. It's cool. Like he hang with a lot of them pro box guys, which is cool. I seen him in there with Nadia Lopez the other day. But like I think he's gonna be one of them guys where he's like, man, did I do everything? Because he had that top ring diet. He took off with it, and when they started stepping up the competition, slowly but surely he kept getting exposed. And he'd be like, okay, well, at some point you're gonna step up. You're gonna fix whatever it is you got going on, and you're gonna take your game to the next level. I don't know where Berlanga's at right now, but I do know that in that fight with Lester, I think that Berlanga will fight a little bit more cautiously, and if he's not reserved, like hesitant to throw his punches the way he used to, he got probably more than a puncher's chance. I'll be honest, because Lester is pretty raw, and he kind of got like the same repetitive thing that he do over and over. So because of that, it'll probably be a good fight. But I don't know. I don't know about Berlanga right now, man.
Let me ask you this question real quick. Let's just say if
it was a no contest,
Munguia does his thing, right? And he beats Resendiz, right? Then we finally get the Munguia versus Berlanga fight. Does that put the winner of that fight? Does it put him back in championship contention?
The winner of the Munguia?
Yeah. No. I'm saying this scenario. Munguia beats Resendiz, right? Then Berlanga revisits the Munguia versus Berlanga fight. The winner of that fight, Munguia versus Berlanga, does that put them back in championship contention? Because for me, if Munguia beats Resendiz, that puts his name back in the conversation. But then if Berlanga,
I would say,
go ahead.
Good. And if
Berlanga beats him, then now Berlanga's name is back in title contention.
Yeah, but see, at the time when it was three fights. It was Canelo fighting Jaime Munguia, and then Canelo fighting Berlanga. But then them two never fought fighting.
Yeah.
And we was also waiting on the Berlanga and Caleb Plant, because that had been stewed out. It's all these guys that was going back and forth and jaw jacking and all this. But like, I've been wanting to see Jaime Munguia and Berlanga. I've been thought that should have happened. I'm like, I wanted to see that before either one of them. And I think that's where they messed up. They should have made it between them before they went and did that. Like, know, but they wasn't gonna turn down that bag. They wasn't. And they got fan bases that are forgiving. Like if they line Berlanga up with somebody and he go in there and knock somebody smooth out, he got the kind of fan base that absorb all of the BS. They'll be like, he's back, baby, and then he'll have all his people behind him and all that. We're not that forgiving. We'll be like, you still a bum. He's a bum, Rock. We'll still, we'll do that. So
Berlanga wins. Have Puerto Rican dudes in cars with the Puerto Rican flag talking about Berlanga, baby, because one of the dudes that got like a little smoke shop that's a couple of blocks from my house, he be in Berlanga's camp. And I didn't even know that. It's this big Puerto Rican dude that you always see with Berlanga. You feel what I'm saying? When I'm looking at the photo and I looked and it was like, oh shit. I was like, yo, you good with him? He was like, yo, I be in camp with him and all of that. He was like, yeah, when we opened this up, that's me and Berlanga standing outside because he came through when I opened it. I was like, oh, so Berlanga, he's rock solid in Bushwick. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'm pretty much like this, man. That dude, get in the ring and line somebody up. That Hamza loss is not gonna matter. And he's gonna drop all of that talk about stuff in his gloves and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I've been yeah, I see. Yeah, they do, but I know I seen how everybody adopted Shakur. I was like, man, all Belong gotta do is not bite somebody and go in there and get a knockout, and they're gonna be right back on the strap. You know what I'm saying, on the jock strap. So me, I'm just like, nah. I mean, but if he were to like knock out Jaime Munguia, if Munguia get past Resendiz and Belong get in there and do what he need to do with Jaime Munguia, I say, okay, that's progression. I still want to see him with the likes of a Caleb Plant, because you know Caleb Plant. I'm past it with Caleb now. You know, a little bit. Like I'm kind of. He can still. He's. I think that people don't even realize this, man. He's pretty much the best gatekeeper, just like Jermaine Ortiz. Like I think that. No disrespect to their talent level and all that, but like they're gonna be relegated to being like gatekeeper status. Like if you're higher echelon, you get past them, you can do something with them, then okay, you're good. If you can't, then you know it's not. I think that they fit the mold right now, unfortunately. So but 68 is interesting, man. It's shaping up. It's shaping up pretty good, man, and they all gotta mix it up. You know, it's becoming. I was thinking about them names and how competitive it's going to be, because all it's going to take is for one fighter to move up, and it's going to the same thing that we're seeing right now with what's going on with welterweight and 140. That's going to start happening with 168 and 160. Like it's all it's going to take us for one guy. Like if Boots would have just jumped to 160, it's going to be some movement. It's going to be some movement. You know, it's going to be some people either coming up there. It's gonna be some people that's there that's gonna move up. It's gonna be, that's how it is. So we'll see how it all pan out, man. And if Canelo, I think Canelo gonna get Billy. I think that's the word on the street. Did you hear that?
I heard it, but I was just like, it was just seen as a rumor. Someone was trying to relegate it to a rumor, so I was like, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
Some linguine, some thin, some
yeah, basically. So I was like, we'll see what happens after the fact.
But shoot, that's all I really had. I think I'm tired of cooking people, and I haven't got the. I know people are still taking pride in, like, on Jamal. You know, because I don't know. He looked like he was getting back to training and all that. I don't know if he was mentally prepared. I don't know if the implications of that fight would lead him into something. I don't know. But I know people just love to, instead of celebrating the fact that Jaime Munguia and Resendiz, we was going to actually get to see that fight. Instead of celebrating that, they took right to just saying, Jamal Charlo ain't this and that. I'm like, man, y'all, you know, I don't know. I hope he do come back, man. But the longer it goes, it's just not looking good, because this is a young man sport. It's an active man sport, you know. And you can't. The older you get, the less active it is. And you know, as far as your pay grade and what you're getting, it's just not realistic for people. So you find yourself in this position where you're missing out on these fights, and you already have doubts, and it's already a hard sell to sell you to the people. Now you're undefeated, which is great, but you gotta get back and get active, man. Like the way they look at Maul, the way they look at Mel, even though they're two different people, the way they look at them both, inactivity is probably the biggest factor. You got to get back in there and do like Mr. Gary Russell Jr. did, where he got back and got active. And I seen him online saying he was putting in some raw work. He had the sauna suit on, shadow boxing and saying, you know, he pretty much ran and, you know, talking to the people. You got to get active, man.
Yeah.
You know, the more time go by, the harder it is for fans to actually believe in you again. Because
But,
what are you giving them to believe in?
Yeah. On a different note, I've just kind of been following this just to see what's going on, because people talk about updating things and yada yada yada. So we saw the big error on the boxing scene's rankings when we were talking about one of the fighters and stuff like that, and they had him at 0-0-0. I was saying that normally within the way boxing scene works and stuff like that, if there's updates, you usually see it the very next day. So last night, Lester Martinez fought and became interim champion. Lester Martinez's name is under Christian Mbili. Immediate thing. You move up 2 divisions to the cruiserweight division. Go to the IBF ranking on boxing scene. Dao Bataya is still listed as the IBF champion. So I said, you know what? Let me go straight to the International Boxing Federation's website and see what they have as far as 220, as far as February, or let me see if I could. Okay, so it stops at February, the second month. But on the IBF website, it still has Ja Obataya as the champion. So I'm just a little bit concerned as, okay, we've seen the publications that says Obataya was stripped, but are they backstage or in an office sitting down with an arbiter and trying to settle this situation with Obataya? To whereas I'm hoping that that's the actual case, because to me, I blame Zuffa for this thing. Because right now, all the evidence shows that it was Zuffa who was dishonest. You were dishonest with the IBF and you were dishonest with the fighter. And now you caused this guy to be in limbo for no fucking reason, with the exception of your own dishonesty. And it's just like, if IBF has not made the conscious decision to take his name down, okay, that gives me hope for Obataya, because I don't want to see Obataya stripped, and I don't want to come up here one day and look as I'm doing my own research to try to keep following this thing and see Obataya's name no longer there and the shit is vacant. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be like, God damn, bro, fucking bullshit. You know what I'm saying? At least for me. So I'm trying to follow this thing, or I am following this thing, and that's my marker. That's the thing I keep looking for, to see whether or not Jai Obataya's name is going to be taken down, and one day I look up here and see vacant. But for right now, and we're, I don't know what, maybe 3 weeks out, his name is still there. So on both sites. So even though one site says it hasn't been updated since February, and if I click on to the date part of it, because it'll say IBF rating PDF, and then it has the date. So when you click the dates, there is no date on the IBF website that's past February 2026. So that's where I'm like, okay. That's a little bit, that needs to be updated. Other than that, where are we at right now? We are at March 22nd. So I'm just saying, I hope Obataille is not stripped. I hope they're working that situation out, and Obataille can go ahead and see if he could do what he wants to do, and hopefully we'll get Obataille versus Benavidez.
It's going to be interesting, and we got to figure out how they're going to do it, because sometimes people do it like children do this. You tell them something, hey, it's going to be consequences, you do this and do that, you know what I'm saying? And they decide they're going to go ahead and do it again. They're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then you make them pay, and then you come back around to still giving them. It's like, I don't know if the IBF can afford to do it, because they're going to set a precedent for it. And he knew about it. To play naive about it, when you were over there and there was no Zuffa, they did it with the Marius Breeders fight. So there was history already. So it's just like, I can't buy that. It was just like, it was the payday, man. But it was a you seen that big pellet. Now that big pellet, if you ever played Miss Pac-Man, that big pellet was down in the lower right-hand quadrant. It was just a pellet over there. But you still had all this area up in the upper left and the upper right quadrant, where it was all these pellets you still had to give. And you already ate the big ones up there, but you want to go down there in the lower right quadrant and eat the big one. Okay, and now you got to find yourself out, like, because now they out there. Like now, yeah, you got, it's a certain way you got to go about getting to the rest of them pellets, which you kind of cut off.
Yeah,
because all of the ghosts are out. They chasing you. You done bit one of them in the ass, the Brandon Glanton. But yeah, he going back. He getting his eyeballs, taking his eyeballs back to the box so he can pop back out. But like your goals and aspirations is in the upper left and the upper right quadrant. That's why I say it was one step forward, but then like at least 3 steps back, because that one step forward gave you a Zuffa belt, which Roy came out and said, "What is it?" They came out, established this new thing, and then say, we're not going to deal with the other, we're not even going to work with, we're not going to play in the sandbox with the other kids. Who wants that? And so now you got to figure out a way to get the strap back, or y'all got to work it out. And I'm pretty sure that the IBF was probably looking at it like, man, dang, y'all, you just messed up our money, man. Like, why couldn't you just tell them we can go over there to Zuffa and just fight and just don't make me like the Zuffa belt champion? Why? Because either way, like, because they'll tell you, like, casuals, remember, they'll tell you, casuals don't care about belts. It's funny how they'll say that. Like that clip where Keyshawn, we played it. They don't even care. Casuals don't even care about a belt anyway. Okay, so why couldn't you go over there to Zuffa and just fight on Zuffa? Like, IBF let you do that, but no. You wanted to stay out. They said go back, but be back in this house for midnight. And you was like, all right. And knowing damn well you was going every bit of 2 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? That you was going to get back every bit after 2 o'clock. And you were just going to run that risk and say, hey, man, they going to let me in. And they was just like, nah, man. Like, nah, I told you, be back in this house at midnight. Now you got to sit your ass out there in the front and think about what you did. But now you gotta right that wrong. And they were probably looking at like everything that was on the table for fights to come, because cruiserweight is not one of them dominant weights. And you were that guy. So you had a Zerto on the table, a possible Zerto, because depending on how bad he get, like either way, it could still be a Zerto. People still might want to see you and Zerto, whether Dave beat the shit out of him or he upset. It'll be an upset in my eyes. He upset David Benavidez. At a minimum, you had a Zerto and you had a Benavidez. That's 2 huge paydays. For what? One pellet that Zuffa got you, and they painted you. You mopped yourself into a corner down there. So it's like we gotta sit and monitor it, but it's gonna be interesting how the IBF handle this situation, because they can't do it to where they can get ran over. Because people gonna be like, nah, man, I'm just gonna go over here real quick, man. I'm going, like you know, back when you running games, like, nah, man, man, my homie, he got a lot on his mind. Really, it's moral support. I gotta go out knowing damn well you rushing your ass down to the strip club. Like, stop, knock it off. They gotta set the tone, because Zuffa is going to challenge. Like, Zuffa was just challenging They were saying they was in talks, or somebody sat down. I think they had like a salad and maybe a hot tea, a hot beverage, looking at Berlanga and Richardson Hitchens. So Zuffa, they still, in a sense, I think it's a form of poaching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shoot me if you think I'm wrong, but it's a form of poaching. They are poaching. You're taking champions and people that are ranked, because the only people that people really care about are the people that somehow were ranked. They're either former champions, but somehow they're ranking. So you're poaching champs and highly ranked people in these sanctioning bodies to build your organization and say, "Yeah, I'm not going to do no business with y'all. Like we not doing no business with y'all." So, but IBF, they gotta keep I mean, I hope for Ja, because I believe in him, and it's crazy that he was the pawn. But you got to recognize when you're a piece on that chessboard.
And that's where I want to give Ja a bit of grace, because we saw the actual parts. We know, us over here, you and I in the 300 know what's really good with the sanctioning bodies. That the sanctioning body, you know, being that these were two IBF fighters, had no choice under what they were told, or however they were saying it, however it was presented to them, that, okay, this is the IBF champ versus the number 10 IBF contender. When it came down to it, and then they found out that, hey, wait a minute, you don't want to recognize our belt and we already sanctioned this fight. At that point, between the rules that we went over even in Malazar's debate and moving forward, of knowing that when stuff like this happens, your team has a certain amount of time based on what the IBF already sent this notification out to you. So there is some legitimacy, a lot of legitimacy, to the point to whereas I want to give Hamza the benefit of the doubt, but knowing the real rules in the business, that you knew this, or your team completely held this information from you because they wanted you to get the bag, or you just said, you know what, we'll straighten it out. You feel what I'm saying? It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission. Is kind of like the saying to a certain degree. But is that the situation that happened here? I didn't want to ask for permission because I knew once you knew that Zuffa belt was for a championship fight in their joint and they don't want to recognize, I would have never gotten this money. So my team did inform me that, okay, IBF has changed their standing on this, and they have every right to, because Zuffa doesn't want to recognize our belt or recognize us as the sanctioning body and things like that. So anything with the IBF, we're not going to stand by it. At that particular point, you are now accountable. Your team is now accountable. So for me, I'm just trying to say, I want to give you the ignorant argument. I want to give it to you. I'm trying to give it to you. But knowing the real sides of the business and everything, it would be crazy of me to just 100% land a plane on that. And I'm just trying to figure out a nice way to say you fucked up. Your team fucked up. Everybody that was involved in that situation fucked up. The only person that actually benefited from that situation was the guy who actually lost the fight, because he has nothing to lose. I don't lose a belt. I was ranked number 12. They moved me up to number 10 because of this fight, or whatever the case may be. But you know what I'm saying? Maybe now that if this situation doesn't work out, I'll be the next guy training and fighting for that real Zuffa belt. So I'm the only person that this situation actually benefits, me and Zufa. For you, Hamza, unfortunately, it doesn't. But for a fan of yours, I'm just like,
You mean Ja, right?
I mean, yeah, for Ja, as a fan of Ja, I'm like, bruh, I hope, for just the sake of hope, that you can actually prove that you were ignorant. It was your team. If you can't, brother, man, it's like, the fuck did you do that? Why would you do that? And then tell us about knowing that the week before, knowing that you were talking about Undisputed and the David Benavidez fight. So we always say, the fuck's a duck. One of the easiest ways to duck is to change promotional companies, managers, and a bunch of shit like that. You completely went over there. And if you knew all of this was going down, and the situation really comes out and says hands down, you knew, because the IBF, there's information that says, yeah, this leaked email came 12 days before that fight happened, when they realized it, and you were informed, your team was informed, and you still went through with it. Being the IBF champ, being your dishonesty, I could have easily said, you know what? Sue me. I'm not going through with this fight. I'm not giving up my fucking belt for your Zuffa belt. I don't give a fuck how much money. And here's the thing. You haven't paid me shit yet, so it doesn't matter. Look at what happened last night. Look at what happened with Richard Hitchens. We've seen instances night of, day of, the fight is just off. That was the crazy shit about the Pro Box card. Two of the jump offs, two fights that were scheduled to be on it, it just fucked up, and we didn't get to see those fights. So at the end of the day, could Jaya Obataia, if he knew this and figured out, oh, they're not gonna well, you know what? I'm not gonna go through with the fight. I got a tummy ache, my big toe hurt, I just hurt my pinky. Whatever the case may fucking be. And nobody's gonna believe you ducked that guy.
Yeah.
So,
what I'll say to it is this. You know, it's history that how strict the IBF is. And more specifically, they did it with him. So I'm like, man, if you're gonna err, you gotta err on the side of caution. So the whole, I understand that concept, forgiveness over permission, but they already told you, like, that stove is hot. You might lose your strap. Why? Because it's a commodity. It's the belt that Ja had. Yeah, you know this the belt that Ja had. Now, this is the trend that I've been noticing here lately, AC. It's a trend to where it's like the boxer, which at some level, they're going to do what's best for their pockets at that time. I'm just now starting to hear the rationale come out, mainly geared towards the Virgil situation, where people are being hindsight is 2020. It's like, dude, you about to get a million more than what you ever got. So you're gonna get 4 mil when you used to get 3 mil, and you're gonna have a big fight where you could show up and show out and then get even more bread, but even more consistency. But the fact that you got that fight, it's gonna lead to you having bigger fights, and you still got Jerry World in your back pocket. You possibly got a Spence, you got a Thurman, you got all them guys that you could possibly do business with because of how stacked 54 is. Don't be so greedy that you avoid the bird in the hand for the two in the bush, like Boots. So what the trend is now, there's been a precedence where these boxers, they're going to do what's best for their pockets. And then they're going to turn around, and because at their core, they know they have a core fan base, or sometimes they have a hive. Like the hive ones, they can really get away with it. If you don't have a hive, if you're not part of the D hive, the B hive, the key hive, the core hive, you know what I'm saying? Like, it might not work for you. But what they do is they do what's best for their pockets, And then they let their fans do their bidding online and say, oh man, he's cool. It's like nobody's saying that humble, like the performance, you know, people was questioning, you know, how whatever, but it was it was still clean, straight, dominant, pretty much won every round performance, okay? With the guy that was number 10. Okay, you got that. That's there. The way you approach it said, listen, man, I just want to fight. I'm the fighter, and you know, I should be able to do this, and these are my aspirations. You tugged at the heartstrings. So now the fans gonna get online, they're gonna do the bidding. But the whole thing is like it's cool, but it's only cool because we know you got paid enough for you to do that. Now you got yourself in a jam. You got yourself in a jam according to your wishes, because Shakur did the same thing. I want undisputed, and then he leave the island where it's 3 straps and go to another island where it's no straps, and don't go to the other island where it was the 1 strap. Just to circle around knowing that you now, okay, it came out, you had a 5-fight deal, and now you were trying to fight, you wasn't trying to fight one top-ranked fighter in Oshaki, but you fought a top-ranked fighter in T.O., and it's rumored that you trying to get it on with another top-ranked guy in Mauritania where you could have stayed there and did what you needed to do the whole time. That's a precedence. This is the exact same thing that Ja did. He went and got the bag. Obviously, it was handsome enough for him to do what he did. And we don't knock that. We want them all to get paid because it's dangerous. You get hit in the head for a living. We ain't knocking that. But it's like in the aftermath, you got to be real. Like, yeah, when you sit there and you drink that bottle of tequila, when you wake up in the morning, you got to deal with the consequences. And if you wasn't hydrated, if you ate, if you pissed too much, if you did more than just the tequila, you gonna have to deal with the aftermath. You can do some things. You might have something brothy. Might try to eat some potato to soak it up. You know, it's certain things you can do to get through it. But yeah, this is the aftermath. It's not good to let your fans do your bidding for you and do all this arguing based on your merit and your character as a person. It's not about that. Because at the end of the day, it's just business. It's not personal, especially when we be talking. Like, a lot of people get personal, but like business wise, because of what Zuffa is trying to do, you got to understand, it's people like us that's going to look at this thing like a chess game and say, oh no, you got used like a chess piece. And yeah, you got paid, you did what was best for your pockets. Okay, live with that for a little while until it works out, but we can't be running around acting like somebody was a victim because they stripped you before. And they told you, yeah, you can go fight as long as it's not this. And you like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go fight. And it was that. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the strip club, but yeah, I'm not gonna take too much out the ATM. And yeah, I'm not going to the VIP room. And then that's the first thing you go take out way more than what you should have at the ATM. And you going straight to VIP. Not even stopping at the bar. Like, that's what you did. And now, when you get caught and you get in that jam, now you like, oh, but no, I didn't have no intentions and I wasn't really in No. You know what I'm saying? So that's the honest assessment of what's going on. But that's the pattern they see. They do what's best for their pockets. And because of social media and the people that are buying in, because a lot of the people who control the printed page, control the thinking of the age, a lot of the people that are in those positions, they're going to do the work for you. You just got to sit back and hope that the sanctioning bodies feel like there are opportunities working with you that's going to be worth your while, as long as you don't burn them again. But you might have to come around and pay more money. And it's an extra step for something you didn't have to do. Because I'm arguing, they might have gave you a couple extra dollars, but with your name, you could have fought Brandon Glanton, and if it was promoted right, you probably would have got the same amount of money and then have to go over there and lose your belt and go through all of this. Because this is going to be legal stuff. This is going to be arbitration. This is going to be time. This is going to be interviews, asking you over and over again. So you got to think about the chess move and the ramifications for if I go do that, if I step in this shit, yeah, I got to have a baggie. I'm going to have to wash this, and I can't bring this in the house. I'm going to have to leave this in the foyer, and you got to think about all of that when you make them moves. So that's what I got on that.
Yeah, it's just, honestly, man, it's just a sad why situation. I get where you wanted to get your bag, and maybe with looking at everything and they, you know, they put down one of those mafia deals or offer that you just couldn't refuse because it's really real life changing money for you, and you were looking at long term things you wanted to do, that this money makes those long term goals now goals. So I get that part, but then the sacrifice to it, you know, if I can change my disposition right now instead of waiting like another 3 years, I can do it right now if I take this bag. Okay, the man inside of me, the father, just a hardworking guy, I completely get that. I completely get that, and I support it. The problem for me is the sacrifice, the level of sacrifice. And that level of sacrifice, part of me just doesn't want to believe that you really sacrificed a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan that made you, you know, maybe one of Australia's most decorated fighters. Maybe the guy that puts you in a stratosphere that rivals Usyk's run when Usyk became undisputed and lineal at cruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? You pretty much got up to the point where your name is recognized, like David Hay and I always forget this other guy's name, the one that was in the movie with Michael B. Jordan and stuff like that.
Tony Bellew.
Yeah, Bellew. Your name has finally got to that level to where we're recognizing you like, hey, there's something special with you. The thing is, there is no Usyks in the division right now. There are none. So none of us had you losing to Zerto. You know what I'm saying? But we question now that Benavidez is up there, your performances, do they beat Benavidez? And it still says, okay, you could be up for the Benavidez fight and come out and show something completely different. You know, but it's like you sacrificed all of that possibly. For what? Got the money. I know you're probably looking at that bank account or looking at your phone at that money, and then looking over at that IBF belt, and then look at that money and look at that IBF belt, and maybe you're rubbing your chin, fucking around, rubbing the back of your neck like, did I make this? Did I make that mistake? You went out and you brought the red bottoms. And then you decide to wear those red bottoms to the company picnic knowing that it was going to rain that day. Now your red bottoms are all muddy and fucked up and there ain't no company to clean them shit. So now you got to try to figure out how to clean these shoes, exclusive shoes, and, you know, still be the pretty boy you trying to be. So I don't know how this goes. I really don't know how your story ends. The only part that's kind of giving me hope at the fact that y'all are backstage doing all the litigation stuff, you know, which is postponing your career of making fights, that your name is still on these lists. That's the only thing that gives me hope, that says, all right, Zuffa, if all else fails, you just got to walk away with that loss, that all that money you gave to Obatiah. And at the end of the day, it's not going to work out for you. Next time, you might want to be a little bit more honest.
Yeah, we just got to wait and see what come out, man. But yeah, I mean, verdict, the jury's still out on that, man. I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping up to date with the laws, but I'll make a note to actually do that this week, to actually look and see where they at. But like, Man, I just wanted to come out here, man, and everything that happened last night, I thought it was gonna happen, except for I thought it was gonna be a couple stoppages that weren't stoppages. But I wanted to come out and say, it looked like belts really do matter, man, and put a stake in the ground for it, man, and speak to the people, because it's been a couple days since we've been out here, man, and just bring everybody up to date on what we've been seeing with boxing, man. What you got, man, as we close out? What you got? You want to leave anything with the people, or
just real quick, man. Yesterday's day of boxing, we're getting these joints, and now that we got this merger, we had a whole day of boxing. Just a couple of weeks back, or last month, we had a whole day of boxing. So these whole entire days of boxing are now becoming a thing. Hopefully with these mergers, they'll become way more frequent. And with that frequency, we'll be getting full days of boxing and cards like we saw throughout the day yesterday. Great performance, sometimes dominant performance, a couple of knockouts in between here and there, a couple of rising stars and stuff like that. Marksman really did his thing last night. That was a fight I was looking for, and he showed out. Ammo, it was what we called it, but the crazy thing is that everybody keeps falling for the talking point that Adames is like this old man, and we tend to forget the dude is only 31 years old. But he's just been fighting that long and been in this fear of what we're seeing, and it's like, wow, he's still around and still fucking people up. So I appreciate the sport, and just moving forward, man, what's going on in these mergers are now giving me even more and more hope that the sport is going to be around. Like, it's not going anywhere. We were just at a weird, dull moment, and everything's starting to show. The smoke is clearing. We're seeing silhouettes, and those silhouettes that we're looking at, it's like looking at the X-Men or the Justice League after all the city or everything has been destroyed, and it's just a big cloud, and you start to see the silhouettes walking through, and you're going to see the faces of who these silhouettes are once they get past the smoke. And I think that's where we are. We're going to be looking at a new generation of real fighters that we can get behind, and these mergers are only going to spotlight them. And that's why I think last night fights and the way it went down, continuing that trend is real important, because it's setting the tone. No, you still on mute. You're on mute, buddy.
I say, yeah, good stuff as usual, man. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. But good, solid contributions this evening, man. Definitely gave some people some analogies and some things to think about, man. But yeah, I think the future is looking bright. As long as somebody emerge and say, hey, listen, man, it's an opportunity. Like that energy that David Benavidez got, we saying, listen, I'm the face. He might not necessarily be, but the fact that he's saying it and then pursuing it, taking action towards it, it's like some of these bosses gotta recognize that, it's a little weird. People trying to land, but like if you grab the bull by the horns, if you're willing to do some things that people are not willing to do, like maybe take on somebody that might be an inch taller than you. Take on somebody that might be an inch taller than you with 2 inch reach, more than you, do something like that. Like, it's a moment that can be seized. So it's all up to them to actually want to take that chance, take that risk. But I appreciate you as always, AC, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Salute. On
Salute,
to the next.
salute. Hope you. All right, man. Hope you and the lady enjoy y'all evening, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Peace. Yeah, man. We got another quality episode in the books. It looks like those belts do matter. You know, it look like them belts do matter, man. It's just, you know, depending on what week or what channel or what avenue you're actually getting your news from. That man was emotional. That man he was emotional. You couldn't tell him and his people that belt didn't matter, and that's the interim. You can't tell Carlos Adames how much it mattered. Why? Because he actually beat Hamza, who me and AC, we actually thought Hamza was going to do something to Adames, but Adames made us eat crow. Wonderful, beautiful experience. And he got a draw, and he was adamant about wanting the win stamped on it. Yeah, these belts do matter. It's just when your mans in them is trying to do something crazy and you want to kind of, you know, be their wet noodle or their pretzel, you know, which is a no-no. It's a no-no. We men, man, we don't get in pretzel-like positions. We'll never be another man's wet noodle, you know, but I wanted to come out here, man, and say that, yeah, it's looking like them belts do matter. Yeah, they do a lot for you too. We went over that earlier this past week or whatever. But I want to tell y'all, man, I put out a video, and I was calling it Pressure, but it was going to be my intro. I think it got too much. I think it got too many gigs on it for me to put it up here. I think this only allowed like 200 gigs. So I got to figure out how to put it up there. But I'll put the link in the comment section, man. Video is fire. Took my time editing it out and doing all that. That's going to really be my new intro, or one of my new intros. I'm working on something else. And we're trying to upgrade, man. We're trying to just take it a notch above, man. Just take it one hair. Like this year, we're just going to try to improve everything just a notch above. You know what I'm saying? We're going to try to clear up a little bit of the language, because sometimes we get passionate and get, you know what I'm saying, but we're not going to change. Our speech is going to be our speech, but get better with the graphics, get better with the topics, get better with things that are going to speak to what's going on in boxing, but still leave you with solutions and a way to look at everything to get better. Because a lot of people always say that 80% of boxing is good. You know, it's just we focus on the 20%. You can get right now, the other day, it was proof in the pudding. I did a video. I did this video. I did this video right here. Did a video about that. It ain't really, the viewership. I mean, that one did all right. That one went over 100. I did one on I forgot what video that was. It didn't get hardly no views. But it was legit. It was about two legitimate you'll have people sitting around talking about Clarissa and Papoose all day long, packing out the building. I don't get it. We try to stay focused on what goes on inside the ring. So I only ask that y'all support the channel, man. Hit the like button, comment, hype the video. That's the best way, man. If you can't support the Cash App, you can't support the Super Chat, hype the video, like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. You know what I'm saying? Hype it. Get somebody else beside you to join and say, hey, look, they're a little different. They actually talk about boxing. They go in depth. They actually kill and shatter narratives. They tell you what's really going on and how you're getting played, as an audience, as a fan. We are not like rocks. You cannot just toss us anywhere you want and we'll just land there and stay there okay, cool. No, we're critically thinking. We're reasonable. I could have easily came up here and had ammo looking all busted up and all that. But no, I care about the young man. So we're gonna talk about what happened in the fight, but we're gonna look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that these belts do matter. You know what I'm saying? And you know, your boy Shakur is not undersized. If Shakur is undersized, what is Tank? But I've never heard these guys get out there and advocate and say, "Oh man, Tank, he's just so small," and I've never heard them go like that. But they're doing it for Shakur, and he is cooked. I think it took longer than what I thought because I seen it before he even made the move. I've been on it for about a year and some change, almost 2 years now. Seen it, been calling it out, saying, "Man, no, I'm not agreeing with it. I don't get down." And people are just now coming around and like they saying, "No, man, knock it off." And they really started to like outline, really started to do content, really started to like really let it be known that, man, this guy's moving funny, man. Messing up the sport. Him and the whole friends and family program, messing up the sport. It's good for them, but really messing up the sport. And people are just now saying that, yeah, I mean, they starting to see it. They saying, hold on, listen, you said this in this interview. You said this in that interview. In that same interview, you said this. In this same instance, he was wrong. And yesterday, he was right. And today, you change your mind. It's like, we ain't got time for that. Especially in a world where consistency is everything. Consistent performance. You know, consistently telling your fan what you want to do. Consistently going in the right path. That's the reason why T.O., you know, fan base was wishy-washy. Why? Because of the level of performance. One day you're hot. One day you're cold. One day you're up here. One day you're down there. One day you acting like you got some sense and you're infectious. The next day you're being racist. Make up your mind. Be consistent. That's all we be wanting, man. Like, even if you lose, even if we're wrong and we got to eat crow, we just want to speak the truth, you know what I'm saying, and continue to talk boxing, man, and work towards getting the good fights. But hopefully you was able to put something in your rucksack and march on with it. Silence is consent, meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for men and women to remain silent. So we speak to the things that need to be spoken to in the sport of boxing. I always say fruits and veggies, not that Reggie, that fact-based content, not opinion-based. Even though we have plenty of opinions, we just try to back them with facts. And we try to be solution-oriented. Y'all know I can talk this boxing all day and all night. Check out that link to that video I called Pressure. You know what I'm saying? Try to hype that. Let's get some eyeballs on that, man. And my Gmail is bodyworkboxing247 at Gmail. You know what I'm saying? If you ever want to hit me up, you got an idea, you say, hey, Bodywork, I got this, you got a question. That's how you can reach me. You know what I'm saying? I like the 300, that's what I call this over here, the 300. They reach out, they share, you know, they say, hey, man, talk about this. If it's, you know, or can I hear about this? Or what you think about that? We communicate. You know what I'm saying? We close knit. We ain't trying to be the Drake of this shit. Cause I'm really like the Lloyd Banks of this shit. You know, I'm gonna stay in my lane. I'm gonna do my thing, and I ain't gonna get carried away with this shit. I just like talking this boxing. That's it. That's all. But salute to everybody who came through the building, man. Support the channel, man, and positive vibes. Hope you all have a wonderful week, man. Thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to